A very pleasant good afternoon as we welcome you into our Thursday edition of the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show here at Quaker Steak and Lube.
Shameful. Just shameful.
Not unexpected.
Jeff.
Who consistently picks the wrong team, no matter what the sport, no matter what the situation, who always goes the wrong way. Almost always.
That's why I wanted you to predict the Phillies Pirates last week. You would not predict it.
No.
You said you were going to watch
because I didn't want to destroy. I had a good feeling, but I did not want to destroy my Pirates' chances.
And it cost me 2 30-packs.
Yeah.
To my friend Alan, our friend Alan. So, with that being said, we have a horrible, horrible, horrible presentation today to bring to you people. Almost embarrassing that I have to sit next to this.
Courtesy of the dear horse and the dear Mr. Longo.
We'll just slowly bring this in.
Well, I need to take ownership of it. Because now it looks like you stink at it.
Look at this.
I
don't want to touch it.
I stink. Well, I don't want to touch it, but I have to. So this is, I guess I should own it.
A little higher.
This is the sign provided to me, mind you, this year. I didn't even have to write it. And stink is putting it mildly. So I appreciate that sentiment. But facts are facts. And truth is always a defense, and that sign is truthful, if nothing else.
We have to delve into this.
It's hurtful,
true. I'm like your shrink today. Okay, Jeff, there's 12 teams in your league.
There's a lot to unravel here.
12 teams in your league.
Yeah.
And you finished last 2 straight years.
No, not back to back. 2 years. Yeah, it's been a few years since I previously finished last. It was not back to back.
So you just had an off year.
I mean, that would be embarrassing.
I mean, you don't draft Michael Irvin and Deion Sanders in 2023.
Well, I will say in retrospect, and it's always, you can go back and look at it in hindsight, everything becomes much clearer. But in hindsight, trading for Joe Burrow at the midway point of last season.
And what did he get you, a game?
Well, no, he's already out.
No, he was already out?
No, I'm just kidding.
I was going to say. Oh, Lord.
Yeah, no, my team actually had a good little run. The one thing, so I stink, but no 2 ways around that. I will tell you, the only reason I do fantasy football at all is because our friend the horse started a league with primarily guys from our dorm floor, our freshman year at Penn State.
Sweet.
So.
Remind me of this.
But I do not like fantasy football because of the
rooting interest.
The whole nature of, I'm rooting against the team that's playing the Steelers, but man, I hope this guy has a great game. No, I don't. I don't.
You tell you're not a gambler.
It's not the way I'm wired. And so, but the other thing about it, and listen, this is just, sports in general too, but so much of fantasy football in particular is, all right, who has the bye week at the wrong time? Do you get an injury? We had the playoffs, and my team took a drastic turn for the worse when it came to the playoffs. I think it's the bottom 4 teams. I don't even know how our league works. I think it's the bottom 4 teams that go into the losers playoffs. And I think I was either ranked 9th or 10th in the league going into that.
Were you still doing your roster going into the losers bracket?
Oh, yeah.
Or you still did it? Because some people just say that, and they just don't do it in the losers bracket.
No,
so
just making
you went into the.
You have the team you have, and then you just got to figure out who's starting. But my running backs were not good. last year. That was a problem.
Well, Ricky Williams he's
throughout.
been a pothead for decades. I mean, you think he'd learn
thought
your
he
lesson.
was ready for a breakout year
Gonna
again.
break out,
I thought it was
Earl
the stars were all aligned.
I'm telling you, these are shot. Earl Campbell is not going to carry the
It's like
the
he
load.
didn't even show up. It's like he didn't even show
And
up.
you're sitting next to a guy who literally, I'm in 2 fantasy leagues. I won them both. My first time ever, I won my Harrisburg league last year.
Yeah.
And then I won my local one here for the 3rd straight year. I'd show you my trophy, but it's out being repaired and getting.
We'll have to bring in
my
the trophies we're most proud. So I have a Center County Region Parks and Rec 2-time bocce champion.
Was this the one on Rotelli?
Trophy, yes.
Good for you.
So sometime we'll have to
compare. I said I was going to interject myself here a little bit here.
That we're most proud of, yes.
So you said it was about guys from your dorm floor. And
correct.
It's funny you say that. You say that. Because I was talking to one of my old teammates, Brad Jones, yesterday.
Yeah.
And we were talking, and he was like, we're talking about because my niece is now going to be going to school here. She's going to be in Pollock Commons, and where all the football players stayed as freshmen. Well, the day you weren't here, we had Landon Tangwell on. He was telling us that, usually the freshmen don't live in the dorms anymore. They go right to the halls or to the apartments. And I said, you know what? I don't know if I like that or not, but I know that there's a reason for it, and that is that these guys move in June or May, and there's no dormitories open for us. You know what I mean? I'm just saying. So there is a reason that's not happening. So just don't think that it's just got thrown away. But there's a reason why the guys just go to the apartments, because they move in May. Now, the dorms aren't ready, obviously, for that type of thing. So it is what it is. But me and Brad were talking, and he was like, man, that really stinks, because he was like, he was telling me a story, and he ripped off 10 people's names that he is still friends with, still talks with on a regular basis. They have a text chain together. And this is like people who were, they had 2 baseball players. They had 2 band guys. He said he had 2 Rastafarians. You know what I mean? And there was another two other guys, 2 other football players. It was just like, it's just the bond that you guys grew and stuff like that as football players, but it's also the guys that we had gotten to know as freshmen. And that's pretty awesome that you still, you didn't know these guys before moving into the freshman year dorm.
Correct.
That's really cool, man.
Yeah.
And that's what I don't like, that these kids are, we sit there and say that it's a different environment these guys are going to school in. And that is a big thing, in my opinion, is that Joe used to throw us into the dorms and have to, live in the 9x9 room with another guy who's 6'6". I mean, imagine that, living in a room with me. I mean, Eric Clare was 6'4", 290 pounds, and I'm 6'8", and it's just like, not much room to go around there in that little dormitory room. So it's just funny that you said that. And then, because I don't really talk to a lot of guys I went on my dorm with, but I have them on Facebook and this and that I me and Eric had been roommate or on the same floor with. But I mean, how long ago was that? 88, 87?
Yeah, it was like about 10 years ago. About a decade.
Well, I know you're such a fantasy guru.
Roughly a decade.
But it's funny how it all comes back together. It was just, that's really cool. You guys can do that. And, talking to Brad yesterday about guys that he knows and stuff like that. And, the dorms are so bad. It stinks, but it's a shared misery, I guess you'd say. Because we'd be getting up to have to go to run at like 6 o'clock in the morning. Everybody else, some guys would still be up from the night before, for heaven's sake. And then we moved into the apartments, and then it was like, we were over there amongst our others, grad students, and then other football players. So, but Jeff, if you need help, I'm here for you.
Well, I'll tell you, it's interesting. So, while we're on it, by the way, thank you, Alan. Spikes, Alan, winner of the 230 packs, lets us know that the Spikes are up 9-1 in the 7th inning. So things are looking
baseball
good.
12:05 first pitch.
Yes, indeed, over at Medler Field at Lebrano Park here this afternoon. Pirates get another win yesterday afternoon, 5-0 over the Cardinals. So the Bucs have won the first 2 series post All-Star break. And we'll see. My frustration, I suspect, is going to remain. And I'm excited about the team. I'm excited to see what they can do. I have zero faith in the ownership trying to make a move. And obviously, there's nothing guaranteed. I mean, you could go make a big signing and it doesn't pan out.
I do want to ask you this question.
You could not make a big signing. And, listen, you could luck into, in essence, that's overstating. I mean, they've done a nice job building up, but they could luck into winning a championship. I think when you look at what the Phillies and the Dodgers have, that is pretty unlikely with the lineup that the Pirates have. I think the Pirates can match up pitching wise, but you've got to get some hits here or there, and there's not a lot of threats in that lineup right
I'll tell you what, if Rowdy Luzinski comes around at first base, my Lord, he had a dinger yesterday, brother.
Yes, he did.
Whew. So my question, they're a half or one game out of the wild card right now, the Pirates, right?
Yep.
Do they make a few trades to try and make a run at the playoffs? I know that I'm sure that they're under. I'm sure that they get. They're not going, but I mean,
they're not going to go after the big. But yes,
and my buddy Runkle have both said the Pirates got 3 really good starting pitchers.
Yeah,
and that is what you need in a 3-game playoff or even a 5-game playoff, even into a 7-game playoff.
No
you
question.
Got 3 studs out there. Anybody can beat anybody in this league. I mean, you just look at the Phillies this past weekend to the Buccos. They didn't play Keller or Skeens, pitch them, but then they took 2 out of 3 from the Phils. I mean, I was I could not believe. I mean, I was like, wait, they're that close to the wild card, and it's a game out. They're half out to a game out, and I see it make a trade.
Yes.
You and I say that, but what is it?
Right. I just don't know that they're going to. I don't think they're going to go out and make the best possible deal that they can. Meaning, I don't think they're. I just have no faith that this ownership group is ever going to go all in. And listen, again, you can go all in. Like the Dodgers have gone all in. Ohio State football is all in this year. It's not guaranteeing that either of those, organizations, franchises, teams are going to win it all. You can go all in and not win it. Oklahoma State wrestling, I think it's safe to say, Goon, that they're all in. We touched on it.
Our boy David
Tuesday.
Doesn't have any cush years. He's thrown right into the fire.
Well, and listen, yes, and I truly wish David all the best. I have so much respect for him and his family, and love everything about them and what they represent. There is a small part of me that worries he's doing this for the money. I just watched another clip with Seinfeld the other night, and they were talking again about all of the money they left on the table to do another season of Seinfeld, and he's like, you always want to leave him wanting more, but also like it can't be just the money. Like there has to be, and I'm not saying David's just he obviously loves the sport, but the commitment that's involved in being a head coach when you have a new family, I'm hoping it's not just hey now. I got to tell you something, too. As I say that, if somebody offered me, there's a lot of stuff that I don't like doing. And if you're offering me $1 million to go do something in the next 5 years, and David loves, the actual coaching part of it. Again, I don't know about some of the other components here, the recruiting and all of the other things that come into play. But the actual coaching, yes, he's going to be great at, and I think he will enjoy and all of that. And I could argue, even if he doesn't do it and he doesn't make the all-in commitment, it's 5 years, and you pretty much have you've made money that you're good for at least your generation and maybe a future generation if you handle that.
You're right. He did give up a lot. He gave up the M2.
Yep.
He gave up his career. As an actual wrestler.
Yeah, and I think that was happening anyway. Again, and I don't know. it's just different if you're doing it just for the money. And I don't think he's doing it just for the money, but more so, I guess, if money is the driving force, I think it's especially when it comes to something like coaching, like it has to be a real passion, and you have to be willing. When I say all in, like I mean, I've just watched fairly up close the hours upon hours, and I don't know that people. I don't even know that I truly understand. There are things that I think everybody knows coaches are putting in a lot of hours, and they spend a lot of time working with the kids and dealing with the paperwork. And especially in sports like wrestling, I guess non-football and non-basketball, and maybe even, I don't know that football, basketball, maybe they are out there having to do it too. But certainly as we move forward, but even previously, in those other sports, if you are looking to take your program to the next level or keep it if it's at that next level, keep it there, the amount of time that those guys are spending cultivating relationships with boosters, fans, business partners, potential advertisers, like and listen, I mean, they are putting in an inordinate number of hours just on the coaching front. You talk to any of the wrestlers who've come through the Penn State program, and they will all tell you, yeah, it was great, because if I got up at 6 a.m. and I'm like, man, I need a workout, I would call one of the coaches and they'd be there half an hour later. Well, that's insane when you stop and think about it. But that's the commitments that's there. And on the days when they're out of town, it's like, hey, get hold of these guys if you need, something taken care of. And by the way, it's not just the coaches that have to make that commitment. It's the trainers, it's the strength coach. I mean, you go right down the line. But the head coach in particular, again, so you're doing all of those coaching things. You're making sure organizationally everybody knows their role, and you're overseeing all of that. Obviously, as we've talked about, now you're also having to make sure your current roster is happy and wanting to come back. You're always trying to gauge, all right, where can we most wisely spend scholarship money in the future? So you're constantly on the recruiting front in a sport like wrestling. Those guys are obviously in Paris getting those guys ready for the Olympic Games. There's been, between the under 20, under 23, and world team events, I don't even know how many tournaments, and that's not to say nothing of the camps and everything else that they run over the course of the summer. And again, on days where you're like, oh man, at least those guys don't have anything to do this week, I guarantee you, like Cal at least is out meeting with somebody, driving somewhere to talk with somebody about a proposal for this or that, or hey, can we try to grow the sport this way? Maybe meeting with a network executive somewhere down the road. Could we look at I mean, it's astounding the amount of time that is spent in beyond coaching in just trying to grow, develop the sport, the program, the athletic department as a whole. And you're always doing that with an eye toward the future. I'm in the process, and it is a process of cleaning out my office at home. And for the first time in my life, now I will say, I think part of this is just, now you have a family, but I'm looking at stuff. I am borderline hoarder over the years, just because I hate throwing away like sports memorabilia or hats or even T-shirts that I, got from different events. And I'm going through this time, and I'm like, I'm never, like, nobody else in this house is going to appreciate this. Like, I think it's cool, but it's not cool enough that I've actually taken a look at it in 10 years. So I can probably, so I'm parting ways with some stuff that it's like, I'm not sure I really want to do that. But so as I'm doing this, I mean, I'm coming across pictures from back in college. I'm coming across, notes from when I first started dating Marissa and Reggie writing little notes to me and all that stuff. So the point is, most of us can take a little time to go back, like look back and take some time and remember, boy, that was great. That was fun. Yeah. I'm not saying there's no moments where coaches can do that, but there's not a lot. They're not sitting there spending a day or two just looking through and reminiscing, because you do that and you're falling behind. And so you're always trying to keep the vision for, again, what can we do better? How can we make this a greater experience for the fans? How can we make it a greater experience for the student athletes to come through the program? How can we, continue to grow and create new
and he's doing opportunities?
And yes,
David.
And so, yep. Now, again, a lot of resources. Just Penn State has a lot of resources too, but he has a lot of resources out there. And I think the support staff that he has, I mean, I know some of the staff out there, just from the support staff I'm talking about, just from the years of relationships, and he is going to have, just like Cale has here, a lot of people willing to put in a lot of hours to benefit the program. But there is a lot of pressure there, and it is a lot of time away from your family that is going to be required if you're going to win national titles. I think Oklahoma State, just because of the resources and the name and the history, I mean, a top five, I'm not going to say it just naturally happens. Obviously, the last few years show it doesn't. It's not a guarantee. But with David Taylor's name and everything else that I just mentioned, it's pretty hard to see how Oklahoma State won't be a top five program. David Taylor is not getting paid that money to be a top five program.
Question: did John Smith hint that he was resigning, or did he flat out resign, or was he pushed?
So the scuttlebutt for the last couple of years, the scuttlebutt for the last couple of years has been that the Oklahoma State fans were getting restless. And this is my interpretation and the folks that I've talked to, and some pretty well connected with the situation. I think it was fairly, I would relate it favorably to the Joe Paterno situation pre-Sandusky scandal, where there were a lot of fans who were like, listen, it is not that we appreciate everything he's done. It's been phenomenal. But man, like we're not doing what we should be doing now, and we've got to make a move here. And, there were people on different parts of that scale. It's like, man, this is John Smith, just like you had people, this is Joe Paterno. You're not going to force him out. He gets to dictate. But there were others saying, no, I mean, again, we're appreciative. In both cases, there was nobody not appreciative for the years of service. But it's like, okay, but man, we have a program that should be winning big now, and we're not. And he's just not able to keep that going right now. So
I know Smith wrestled there, and he was successful. His whole family was, yada, yada, yada. He was winning the national titles before Iowa, right? When was he the head at the helm when they were on their big run? I know that they had a couple different.
Well, they've had
runs.
Many over the years,
36 titles?
Many big runs, but he had his run in the early 2000s.
He did.
Smith did,
okay,
yes.
And that was 5 or 6?
5 titles, and they were, they were what Brands then became, and then obviously Cale's taken it to another level. But they had it rolling, and there were articles written, that is Oklahoma State ever going to lose? What's the magic here to John Smith. And listen, Brands came in
here, right?
And when Brands brought in the Virginia Tech, he had coached at Virginia Tech, and then they made the move, getting rid of Zaleski, and Brands came in and won his 3 in a row, and then Cale came in, and so what Smith did again was phenomenal, but it had been whatever it was 17, 18 years since they had won a national title.
And
now
he
they
was
had
the
been,
coach the whole time, right?
Yeah, they had been in the mix many of those years, but had not won the title. And really, the last couple of years, the drop off was not as bad as the early 2000s got for Joe Paterno and Penn State football, but comparable in terms of expectations and where Oklahoma State was finishing. And they were losing out on recruits that they do not expect to lose out on. And so, and David, listen, to his credit, not surprisingly, has, they are out of the gate here. They are going to have a very good team in the upcoming season. Both
I know we got Iowa,
transfers,
Penn State, and Oklahoma State. So you said that we are all going to be recruiting on a national level right now. But is he going to lock down the Oklahoma-Texas wrestling? Is that normally what
you say
Oklahoma State,
lockdown?
was that normally where Oklahoma State gets their?
Well, no, yes, they get a lot from there, but they also get a lot from. They really do from all over the country. They are a national brand. They get guys from California. They get guys from.
So they're
the
recruiting
Northwest.
against the same guys. So it's not like they have
and they've got Pennsylvania, here and there. Not many. Not like the Iowa pipeline there for a while with the.
There's going to be one now with the M2.
Yep. But Jordan Oliver went there, and so they are, as all of those schools are. They're all competing for the same guys. It doesn't matter where, in terms of the top 20, 30 overall recruits. I guess that was my question.
Do they need to go national, or is there enough talent in the Texas Oklahoma basin?
Well. If you're going to try to win national titles, you have to go national, because, and it's not even, again, Pennsylvania is the best high school wrestling state in the country, but
how many are at Penn State?
Yeah, Penn State is, gets its fair share, but also has lost many of the top level recruits coming out of Pennsylvania. But in many of those cases, it was because, they had a guy that they thought was a little better. And in some cases, it was, the difference between, like Michael Kemmerer goes to Iowa. Penn State had Jason Nolf and then Carter Starachi. Well, Kemmerer was great.
If you're a Pennsylvania kid and you get offered by Penn State and there is that opening, you're not turning it down. Kemmerer goes to Iowa because he'd have to sit and wait a little bit, right?
Well, not necessarily. Spencer Lee was going to go.
I don't think Spencer Lee was a Penn State Cale type of guy. Do you?
Well, if he had said, "Hey, I want to come here,"
he'd have to change, though, right?
Yes, he would be. Yeah. So all of these guys, there's just so many different factors that go into. Why you want to wrestle somewhere, why you want to stay in state, leave. But part of the equation, and this is one of the things, and again, maybe this part is changing. I guess we have to wait and see how things kind of unfold over the next, 5 years here. But one of the things that is always, two things that I think make it tricky on the college wrestling coaching front is projecting weight classes, because in some cases you have a pretty good idea. Okay, this kid's parents are both short, small. This kid's been small all his life. He's probably a 25-pounder, and we feel good about his chances. Fine, but there have been plenty of kids over the years that it's like, I think he probably projects 41, 49. Oh, he left college at 65. I think this kid's going to be a 74 pounder. Well, he ends up a heavyweight. So you're trying to project that. And mind you, you're doing this with 9.9 scholarships.
Mm-hmm.
So you're trying to figure out, you're trying to get the best 10 kids you can. Now,
you really got to know these kids.
Over the years, what the general consensus has been, and I think this has changed a little bit with Cale and Penn State, but generally what the thinking was you needed to try to get 4 studs, 4 superstars, go all in, 4 scholarships, and then get some really good talent in around that. So if you could get 4 studs, 4 guys that were kind of surefire All-Americans, 2 or 3-time All-Americans, a couple of national champs in there, and you could get out of the other, 5.9 scholarships spread out, starters at every other weight, and get a couple of guys that could emerge. I mean, if you could get 6, 7 All-Americans and a champ or 2, like you're in the title mix, generally speaking, over the years. And from a tournament standpoint, that was kind of the general thought process. Now with NIL and with all of this, again, this may change completely, but the other thing that you try to do as a coach, and again, now between the transfer portal and NIL,
yep,
maybe this changes significantly, but up until now, at least, the other part of the equation is it's not necessarily that, hey, we have a hole at 125. Penn State had a hole at 125 for all those years.
Yes.
Well, you got to go out and get the best kid this year. Yeah, but we think this kid that's a sophomore right now is the best thing coming. And if we spend the scholarship money on 125 this year,
right,
we don't have that money to spend. We're not spending 2 scholarships on 1 weight class, 2 full scholarships on 1 weight class. And so you're trying to, it's always, hey, would you be willing to come here for a half scholarship? If we can forge a relationship with this guy, might he be able to come here for a half scholarship? What's the family background? Well, this kid has a need, like we've got to give him a full scholarship or we're not going to get him. Yeah, this kid's parents seem to like our program. Like there's a lot of different
other grants and scholarships for a need-based? Rather than just saying, hey, we could get this guy a scholarship, you could say the scholarship, that kid's needy.
Yeah, not really. Not
okay.
When
I want to go back.
Athletics.
I want to go back about 6 or 7 minutes right here.
Yeah.
I have never even thought about the projecting of the weights.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
You really got to do some research.
To me, wrestling recruiting, and Cale has kind of turned this on its head because it feels like they never miss. That's not the case, but I mean, it really does feel like, and very consistently they don't. I mean, the guys that they bring in and they project as future stars, much more often than not, end up being future stars. But to me, wrestling recruiting is the toughest sport to recruit because 9.9 scholarships, so you don't have a full scholarship per starter. So you start there. The number of injuries in wrestling is comparable to football or the other. I mean, it is a physically grueling and taxing sport, and it's a mental grind, and not everybody can make the transition from high school to college. Burnout factor plays in, homesickness, just a general, hey, I don't want to keep banging my head against the wall here and I'm not making the progress I want. I'm done. I want to go enjoy
somebody gets hurt,
other parts of life. And so yeah, and then you have trying to project the weights, and then
I love that.
You also have over the 5, again, you're trying to project Penn State under Cale being the exception here, but most teams, programs over a 5-year period. You're like, hey, can we get everything to come together and make a run here in 1 year or another? And so you're trying to factor, all right, we've got a veteran team coming. Can we get that 1 or 2 superstars coming out that could make a difference and get this to all fit together? So there's just a lot there that you're trying to project. Now, in some ways, it's even more so now because of the NIL and the transfer portal. But in other ways, it's for a program like Penn State or Iowa, it is almost an added leg up now where they have that advantage and they're pretty well locked in with it.
You can see me over here laughing if you're watching the screen, and that is like I'm trying to project, like, okay, some of my football teammates' families, and I'm like, there's no way he would have been projected there. I mean, it's such a different sport in that it's like the wrestlers know almost they're a little more mature than football players, I think. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're talking about how like Kale and the guys have to go and say, I'm looking at this guy Jeff Byers right now. He's a 212-pound guy out of State High. Now you're gonna look at your mom and dad. I've never met your mom and dad. I don't know how big they are. I don't, and then like they literally have to look at that and say, yeah, well, you know, because I've heard enough stories from college recruiters. Oh, his dad is huge. He's going to grow into this, and it never happens.
Yeah.
I never thought about that aspect of it, which is absolutely crazy because it is such a fine line. It's 9 to 12 pounds, right? Isn't it the difference?
Yeah.
Geez. I mean, God, you can eat. Man, I've seen guys eat their way through 12 pounds in a weekend. Yeah, I'm thinking about projecting of people and stuff like that. I mean, you could project that I was going to be a big guy. I mean, I don't know if you knew my parents, but they were mutants, so they knew I was going to be another mutant.
Had a pretty good idea.
Yeah, they had a pretty good idea. But I'm looking at Marco.
Not going to be your future at
Marco's the largest Puerto Rican in the history of Puerto Ricans. There's no doubt in my mind. There's no doubt. He goes with the Spanish aspect of the Puerto Rican. And that's what he says. His grandfathers were big, tall men. And then his father was a short, round man. So then his mother is absolutely tiny. And I'm like, how the hell did that guy come out and get projected? How did they sit there and project that? Jeff Harding's?
Yeah.
His dad was tall and uber thin, but Jeff looks exactly like him right now. Jeff's about 200 pounds right now, if that. Oh, man, that's pretty cool. But that's a lot of work that's got to go into there. I mean, are they allowed to look at like medical records or like growth plates and stuff like that?
Well, I mean, you have to get permission from the family. I suppose you could. Like
in high school recruiting, they could, like Kale could say, like, let's get. I mean, they're not going that far, are they?
No.
Okay. I mean, you know what I'm talking about, like growth plates and stuff like that, where people are like, oh, well, they're in their 96th percentile type of thing when they're younger. I want to know if that's just crazy to even think about.
We are going to take a break here. We are coming back with more of the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show here on a nice-looking Thursday
Goon,
afternoon.
Two-time loser, first of all.
Yeah, 2-time.
Come on now, let's get it up.
All right, let's get it up as we go to break.
There we go.
Facts are facts.
Man, you're really good, Jeff. You're really, really good.
2 times. Horse and I got to get this one. Yeah.
I'm a 3-time in a row in the Quaker Steak and Lube League, 3-time champion, 3 in a row champion. I'm on a 4-peat quest this week. I'm on a Cale Sanderson type run right now.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And you know what I do? I project how my players are going to do. That's what I do, buddy.
I project how my players are going to do. I knew how they were.
You say project or predict? Because there's a big difference when it comes to you.
We are coming right back here at Quaker Steak and Lube in State College after this.
Coast into fall with a new Kia from Lion Country Kia. Right now, get a 24 Kia Seltos for 5.25% APR for up to 48 months. A new Sportage plug-in hybrid at 0.9% APR. Check out our 23 Sorento hybrid for as low as 4.5% APR. And don't forget, all 2023 and 2024 Kias come with a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty. Stop in and meet with one of our sales experts today and coast into fall at Lion Country Kia. We want to see you in a Kia.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things, great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
Get our Best Wings USA, signature sauces, mouth-watering appetizers, or any of our delicious award-winning lube favorites.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak Lube.
The Center Hall Farm Store has been serving Center County and beyond for well over a half century. A small family business, the Center Hall Farm Store specializes in animal nutrition and manufactures its feed fresh using local ingredients. Get the best in horse, cow, pig, chicken, and bird feeds. If you're not already a customer, stop in and see why so many of your neighbors are. The Center Hall Farm Store at 110 West Allison Street in Center Hall, or call us at 814-364-1393.
The State College Spikes are hitting the field all summer long. Enjoy fun, affordable family entertainment as the future of baseball is on display in Happy Valley. Spikes games have something for everyone at the new-look Medler Field at LeBron Park. From great giveaways to fantastic deals, from special appearances to plenty of fireworks, all the way through September 3rd. For tickets, call 814-272-1711 or get the schedule and buy and download at statecollegespikes.com.
Ready to be part of something bigger? Come pave the road to success at Glen O'Habaker and discover a career where your hard work and determination can build a bigger, better future. Our team believes we can build a stronger future together. Join us at Glen O'Habaker, where we value teamwork on the field and on the job. Go to GOHcareers.com to apply. GOHcareers.com. And best of luck to all the Center County sports teams all season long from everyone at Glen O'Habaker.
With a Timber Kids savings account, you can start to save money, earn prizes, and teach your kids the value of savings. It's easy as 1, 2, 3. Building futures is what we do at TFCU.
You really need to belong to a credit union. You belong at TFCU, Timberland Federal Credit Union, a credit union you can grow with.
The Goon and Ironhead.
And we are back here on a Thursday afternoon as we come to you from Quaker Steak and Lube. Big Ten Media Days out in Chicago. One of the things that I do think is interesting, and I think the answer is easy and obvious, but I think there's actually a couple of other coaches that are at least within striking distance. But conversation was, or is here, coach under the most pressure in the Big Ten. And I think they're embracing it as far as it goes.
Honest to God, I'm telling you, I think James is on. He feels there's a little pressure on James right now. It's playoff or bust, in my opinion. And James actually admitted that this week.
Yeah,
he actually came out and said it. Loxley, Rutgers, Northwestern. I mean, the bottom tier teams, but I don't. Ryan Day is under some significant pressure.
Yeah, to me, that is. He is
like
easily,
we have talked about
easily under the most, because if they lose a game, it is going to be considered.
Well, I think that's going to change now because they're still going to be in the eligible. It's not like years past where you're 1-9 and you're done. You know what I mean?
But I'm telling you, if they lose a game, they are the talk shows in Columbus are going to go berserk.
Well, that's what.
Now, if he comes back and wins the national title, yes, all will be forgiven.
What's going to happen when he wins the national title? Oh, he's supposed to. He has the highest paid team. He's in a no-win situation, is what he's in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I can't believe what Harbaugh did, by the way. Did you see that little sign he put up at the Rams or the Chargers facility?
Yes.
He says nobody here was born on third base. Just another little shot at Ryan Day from across the freaking country. I think, but you and I have talked since Ohio State has come up with this, $20 million class, and that is that what is going to happen when they do lose a game? Okay, are the players going to say, but this is a little different now because you can still get in with one, possibly, most likely get in with 2 losses. But is that team, if they do lose and they do not blow teams out, I think they're going to blow teams out. But if they don't, I just don't think they have they don't. Again, we play for the love of Penn State. I play because I wanted to win. I love Penn State. I wanted to win. all this and all that, but I wasn't being paid to do that. These guys are being paid where I think they're going to have that NFL like professional attitude, and that is like, why do I have to go do that? I'm still going to get paid tomorrow morning. And that's just, it's crazy to think about. And I hope that doesn't happen, but I have said before, I'm looking at 2 teams this year. I'm looking to see how Colorado reacts with all this pressure. Now it's like, okay, the lore of Prime is worn down a little bit, in my opinion. They better start winning games the way they act. And 2 is how the Ohio State Buckeyes are going to deal with a loss. And that's the players who are just going to say, I don't care because I'm still getting paid. Or are they playing for the love of Ohio State? And it's no longer that anymore in college football. And I think that we all need to come to grips with that sooner than later. And it stinks, but it is where we are at right now. So they are the 2 teams I'm totally watching this year to see how their players react after losses. And even if Ohio State loses, I mean, how they react because of what they've paid. But Day is in a no-win. He's on a hot seat that he doesn't beat Michigan. He doesn't win the national title. I think they're going to get rid of him. And then he has your boy Chip breathing over his shoulder as the OC. Why did you bring Chip Kelly in? Other than, hey, let's put a little pressure on Ryan here, get some offensive stuff going on. I think he's definitely on the hot seat, the hottest of the seats.
Which is
Deshaun Foster might be on the hot seat after his presentation yesterday of his welcome to the Big Ten. That was bad, but it was just like I could see myself doing that too, because it was like somebody just said it's a media, it's a media event. So he's probably used to being in a room the size of the Lube with 50 reporters, but now he had 5,000 reporters in the middle of Indianapolis, and they said, "Okay, we'll just talk about this and this and this," and then he just was bad. But Day, Franklin. I believe that they're on. I think. What did you think about James saying yesterday? We come from a place where you can win 10 games and people aren't happy, and we embrace that. I took that as, I don't know how I took it. Now, I don't know if it was taken out of context. Was there more below? Because I did read the article, and they just said, there is a want and will to win at in-state college and at Penn State, and I believe that. What did you take out of that comment from him?
No, I think that's right. We've talked about it, Goon. I mean, there's a couple of things about it. James Franklin does not shy away from the expectations, and it. I mean, I think I've talked about this several times. It drives me nuts when Steelers fans are like, oh, Mike Tomlin, he just cares about being 500. No, he doesn't. Like, it's just. Mike Tomlin, I guarantee you, has never talked to his team, to the media. I don't think has ever had the thought in his head that, man, I want to keep that 500 record. I'm just telling you, the way that guy is wired. Now, you can argue whether or not how effective and whatever you want to think of him as a coach. The thought process there, it is unfair to say that Tomlin cares about that 500 record. Right. I don't think he does. I think that he is all about trying to win championships. Well, he hasn't won. I get it. Neither have most of the coaches in the NFL, right? Like it's hard, and it's really hard when you're, in an era with Bill Belichick and the Patriots, and now with Andy Reid and the Chiefs. There have been 2 wrestling coaches in the last 13 years, other than Cael Sanderson, who have won national titles. You don't think there's a ton of coaches out there that are busting their butt and they're not satisfied with a second or a third place finish, but that's where you're at right now.
I would have said State College is one of those places where 10, 11 games is not we strive to win 12. We want to get to 12.
Well, they're when he says they're embracing it,
we need to get to that 12 win.
Yeah, but again, and that's great to have as a goal, and it's great to. Yep, we are absolutely committed to it. You're in the same conference as Ohio State,
and I know people get mad at that comment though, because it's like it's just using the same 2 teams, and that's Ohio State, Michigan. That's where I think people get very upset about that. It's just like. Well, it's not just 10 wins. It's the same 2 losses that drive people crazy.
But it's Okay, and if you're an Iowa wrestling fan, it's like, well, yeah, but you keep losing to Penn State. Well, right, because Penn State's the best. Ohio State is the best. They have the most resources. They have the most talent. They have a great coaching staff. I get it. I get the frustration, but it's not like there isn't a reason for it. Ryan Day is a higher paid coach than James Franklin. Ryan Day has more revenue coming in.
Yeah.
They have more, they have a lot of advantages. Penn State has advantages over a lot of the other schools in the Big Ten. They don't over Ohio State. And it's the same thing in the SEC with, if you're not Alabama or Georgia. So, I mean, LSU's not happy with where they're at. Tennessee, Florida certainly is not happy with where they're at. Well, yeah, and look at this. They keep losing to Alabama. Well, yeah, so does everybody else. It's not like somebody else is out there beating Ohio State every year. Why can't Penn State just be like, nobody?
In the last 3 years.
Yeah, last 10 years.
Last 3 years.
Look at the last 10 years.
Well, then Michigan got put on the hot seat a little bit, and then look what happens.
Yeah.
It just comes around. So
yes.
Is there any talk at Iowa of saying, okay, we can't beat Penn State, we need to move on from Brands?
Oh, there's all. I mean, that's a program that has, national titles and expectations. So, yeah, for sure.
There is rumors of them being like, "Hey, this is it. You got one more chance, and that's it."
From 2011 on. Yep.
But we're now That's 13 years then.
Well, and this is so who is it? If you're Iowa, and it's like, all right, we're going to go bring in. Who are you bringing in that it's like, man, guaranteed now we beat Penn State?
Well,
I mean, Oklahoma State just spent millions on David Taylor. You think there's a guarantee that David Taylor and Oklahoma State are going to beat Cal and Penn State?
Are they wrestling?
Yeah, both schools are going to wrestle, is my understanding. Probably for each of the next 5 years.
No. Are they wrestling?
No, I'm not saying it can't happen, but I mean, there's no guarantees.
Match?
So if you're Iowa and it's like, yeah, we got to move on. We got to get that coach that's going to be Penn State. And that's my point with James Franklin. That's great. Man, yeah, he's great, but he can't beat Ohio State. Okay. So you're going to get rid of James Franklin. And who is it that you're bringing in that, man, I guarantee you now, over the next decade, Penn State at least goes 5-5 and probably goes 6-4 against Ohio State?
I have a question.
Nick Saban, Bill Belichick? Nope. There's not a coach out there that's going to do that.
Did you think that David would eventually turn into a coach? You knew him when he was 17, 18, 19.
And
is there somebody
head coach? Not necessarily. Okay. I mean, a coach for sure.
Okay. I mean, I guess you didn't know Cale when he was younger, but did you think that he'd become a college head coach? I didn't know
him, but I think most were projecting as he was wrapping up his collegiate
career. At Iowa,
do
you think they have somebody that they're looking at who can come back and be like, okay, we're going to go?
I mean, maybe a Spencer Lee, maybe. I mean, I don't know who's out there that you're like, boy, that guy is.
Well, then what made
David so heads and shoulders?
What made David so enticing to Oklahoma State then? Just his name?
Yes, I think that
and his Penn State background,
the name and the lore, and yes, if you're going to beat the best, let's go get the best. And David arguably is the best wrestler that Cale has produced, arguably.
Ooh,
and
I would love to have this conversation.
So, Oklahoma State, I think it's like, hey, everybody keeps saying, what's the secret formula? Well, let's go get a guy that we think has the secret formula.
Are there people at Oklahoma State who aren't happy with David?
I don't think at this point. I mean, they haven't wrestled anything.
No,
yet.
You know what I mean. No, who weren't happy with why did we go outside of the family? I'm sure there are, right?
Yeah, I doubt there are many. I think most people have
they're happy.
Were there Penn State wrestling fans that were unhappy that Cale came in because he wasn't a Penn State guy? I mean, there probably were a few people, but
Penn State never had the history that Oklahoma State did.
They got a pretty strong history.
You know what I mean?
Pretty strong history of Penn State guys. I mean, you go back to Lorenzo and Fritz and Sunderland. I mean, Yeah, that's a pretty strong tradition, and yeah, I'm sure there were some people, but not very many.
So who out there right now do you think of the Olympic teams, of the Penn State teams, do you think other guys are being looked at by other universities as like, hey, we got to do what Oklahoma State did and go get a Kale guy?
Well, I think you'd be crazy if you weren't.
I mean, Kyle Deke's got to be. Is like I guess my question about David was he being coached, was it thought about in the past, but is Kyle Dake possible coaching?
Yeah, I mean, I think Dake certainly is. I think Jason Nolf. I think Jason Nolf is a guy that I mean, I think he wants to get into coaching. I've talked with him about that before. I think there's several guys with that have come through Cale's program. Zane Rutherford, I think, would be a great coach. I'm not sure.
I think Nolf is a great call.
Nolf, I mean, I'll be shocked if he.
I really think that's a great call.
If he does not end up as a college coach,
that's what I was going to say.
At some point, I'll be stunned. Rutherford, I'm not sure. I think he may want to move on from the sport. I don't think it's a guarantee that he gets into coaching. I think if he does, again, he is out of the Cale mode in terms of his mindset, his ability to put any ego, and I don't know if he has any ego. I'd never see evidence of it, but I think he is a guy that if he wanted to would be a great coach. But so many of those guys, I mean, I look at a Bo Bartlett and Aaron Brooks. I think when Aaron finishes up his competitive career, that is a guy.
He'd be a wonderful coach.
That is a guy that, yes, is just so personable, relatable.
I think what you just said
has
is a big
his priorities,
and that is that you like. Who is the person in state college who could have literally the biggest ego of anybody here, and that's Cale Sanderson. And he probably has the least of the egos.
Yeah.
Like, I see Nolf and I see Brooks with that type of okay, it's not my time. I'm here to make you better than me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Knowing David in, my, weekends away and at Austin's and stuff like that, knowing him, and he was always in that competition mode. I never saw that I never saw him in that coaching mode type of thing. But Nolf is an unbelievable call, and I think Brooks is in what you just said and what I just said, and that is those guys will literally they will do whatever it takes to make somebody better than them.
Yeah,
because it's what they do. And what about Bo's father?
And Nick Lee is a guy too that is, obviously is starting his coaching career now with Penn State, but he's another guy that down the road, it feels to me almost inevitable that he would be a head coach if that's what he desires. If not, he could be the next, Casey Cunningham, Cody Sanderson.
And there's guys who give up completely everything and just say, I don't want the head coaching job, but I do want to make you better than I was.
Yep.
And it's all part of that whole team. And Cale gets the credit, but you're the one who sits there and says there's many people going in there, and it's cool to see. But Bo Nickel's dad is now the state high wrestling coach.
Correct.
They from Texas?
Yeah. Well, yes, they came here from Texas. They bounced around. He's actually been a terrific, championship winning high school coach at three different. I guess nothing's ever a guarantee. This is as close to a guarantee of State High being successful.
Yeah.
And listen, State High finished third at the states last year, so successful. Maybe we need to define here, because I think they're going to be more consistently a really good dual meet team, and I don't think they're going to drop off from where they have been these last couple of years in terms of the state tournament. I think they are going to be a more consistent powerhouse we'll
get
Jason
back to what we're talking about, but I'm looking up at Colin Coward right now with his projections for the playoffs this year.
Yeah.
And it would be a home game versus LSU on December 21st.
I would sign up for that. Let's do that.
And the
Let's
Goon
get that.
shall cry
Let's get that
himself
one
to sleep at night because he's in joy.
Ohio State Liberty will be a good one. And then
see,
Penn
how does
State, if
that-
it beats LSU, gets Oregon. Of course, he has Oregon as the 1 seed.
Overall.
Yeah.
That's,
I'm not saying it's completely out of the realm of possibility, but
I
going
saw
into
one
the
earlier today
season,
that had Penn State hosting Ole Miss, and I was like,
because what that would mean is, like, I can see Oregon beating Ohio State in that meeting in Eugene, but if that happens, I don't see Oregon beating Ohio State in the Big Ten title game unless this is always, when we keep coming back to this, unless Ohio State's season just gets derailed by that loss in Eugene, which you and I both think is a possibility. And again, when we say derailed, it's like 3 losses.
I'm interested to see if they miss the
doesn't
playoffs.
mean like 6 and 6.
They miss the playoffs. Day is done. Day is out. And that's what,
for sure.
Again, I go back to what I was saying before, and that is I want to see how they react, because this is the team that money has bought. And I want to see when the money is there, still there. It's not going to go away. It's the NFL. And you see some NFL teams who don't like, they play for the money sometimes, and they don't play for the love of the game. So we'll see if that trickles down to this level.
Yep. We will take a break here, and we have from the comments, Penn State doesn't have the wrestling history like Oklahoma State, Iowa, and some others. Are they building history? Yes. I was talking specifically about the it's all relative, I guess. There is a very strong wrestling history with Penn State in terms of winning national titles. Correct, not matching up with Oklahoma State and Iowa yet. I was talking more about the history of hiring from within. John Smith being an Oklahoma State guy, taking over at Oklahoma State. Iowa did not care that Dan Gable came from Iowa State.
Penn State cared that Cale's from Iowa State.
Yeah, Penn State does not care that Cale. But Penn State had more of a history there of their coaches being Penn State guys. And again, I don't think anybody cared. We're getting a request. I'll hold it up. I'll hold it up. They want us to go into every break with this.
Jeff.
Yeah, but now it looks like you stink at fantasy football.
I'm a champion. You can ask Whitmer right there. You can ask him on there.
We are coming back with more. We may need to just do away with this. This might be our last show. We're coming back after.
Coast into fall with a new Kia from Lion Country Kia. Right now, get a 24 Kia Seltos for 5.25% APR for up to 48 months. A new Sportage plug-in hybrid at 0.9% APR. Check out our 23 Sorrento hybrid for as low as 4.5% APR. And don't forget, all 2023 and 2024 Kias come with a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty. Stop in and meet with one of our sales experts today and coast into fall at Lion Country Kia. We want to see you in a Kia.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things, great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak Lube.
Get our Best Wings USA, signature sauces, mouth-watering appetizers, or any of our delicious award-winning lube favorites.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak Lube.
The Center Hall Farm Store has been serving Center County and beyond for well over a half-century. A small family business, the Center Hall Farm Store specializes in animal nutrition and manufactures its feed fresh using local ingredients. Get the best in horse, cow, pig, chicken, and bird feeds. If you're not already a customer, stop in and see why so many of your neighbors are. The Center Hall Farm Store at 110 West Allison Street in Center Hall, or call us at 814-364-1393.
The State College Spikes are hitting the field all summer long. Enjoy fun, affordable family entertainment as the future of baseball is on display in Happy Valley. Spikes games have something for everyone at the new-look Medler Field at Leblano Park. From great giveaways to fantastic deals, from special appearances to plenty of fireworks, all the way through September 3rd. For tickets, call 814-272-1711 or get the schedule and buy and download at statecollegespikes.com.
Ready to be part of something bigger? Come pave the road to success at Glen O'Haw Baker and discover a career where your hard work and determination can build a bigger, better future. Our team believes we can build a stronger future together. Join us at Glen O. Hawbaker, where we value teamwork on the field and on the job. Go to GOHcareers.com to apply. GOHcareers.com. And best of luck to all the Center County sports teams all season long from everyone at Glen O. Hawbaker.
With a Timber Kids savings account, you can start to save money, earn prizes, and teach your kids the value of savings. It's easy as 1, 2, 3. Building futures is what we do at TFCU.
You really need to belong to a credit union. You belong at TFCU, Timberland Federal Credit Union, a credit union you can grow with.
The Goon and Ironhead.
And we welcome you back in here on a pretty nice looking Thursday in the Valley of Happiness. We are at Quaker Steak and Lube, the place to watch Olympic coverage, which gets underway tomorrow. Olympics, I guess, officially getting underway yesterday. Team USA with the big upset in men's soccer. No, just kidding. They got shut out by France 3-0.
They play soccer in the Olympics?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. See our conversation from Tuesday. But
doesn't do it for me.
I don't know. I am looking forward to watching, and I think we'll be able to watch the opening ceremonies, or opening ceremony, just one ceremony, tomorrow night. And
I thought it was Saturday.
Team USA, high expectations overall. Wrestling certainly has high expectations going into the games. And I don't know, as we talked about on Tuesday, as I've been watching some of the coverage or some of the promotional stuff leading into it, I usually get sucked in, and I think I will again this year. But I'm kind of curious to see how much I actually do end up following and what sports, aside from wrestling, or what storylines kind of end up pulling me in and keeping my attention this year. Because I don't really have any kind of, other than wrestling, I don't have any preconceived notion of, man, I've got to watch this or that. Like, I want to check out the opening ceremony.
The big rivalry in swimming is Australia. That's like that's the USA and Australia are head to head there. In gymnastics, it's China. In women's gymnastics, excuse me. There are 2 Penn State guys on the men's team, which is freaking amazing.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Look at the list of the guys. Penn State's on a list of people that are actually competing in the Olympics, but you think about, there's only like 8 that are actually American, but there's actually more people competing for their
Roman Bravo Young with Mexico,
Aubrey Wise in Mexico.
Yep.
I think it's great to get it out there. And I mean, again, I love the Olympics. I mean, I have to ask, do they still have the weightlifting?
Yeah,
because that's still just amazing to me what they're doing. The wrestling, I got a pretty good feel for because of my last 5-8 years here. The basketball, it doesn't interest me, other than I see that Steve Kerr says we have to have more energy out there. I mean, again, it just drives you crazy because it's like these are literally the greatest athletes in the world, and it's just like they're struggling versus South Sudan and Germany. But those teams have been playing together for a while, and it's just like you just can't throw these teams together and be like, okay, go win. You'll lose against a very, very good defensive team or a very good offensive team. And that's just how basketball and sports are. But I do like the track and field stuff. It just amazes me. Like I said on Monday or Tuesday, I don't know who said it, but I just said you should just select people, just normal people off the street, and say, go do what these people are going to do, just to show you how hard it is what they do. I mean, just put like Joe Schmo out there running the 200 out there, or swimming 10 laps, and seeing how they do, and the weightlifting and the gymnastics and the wrestling. Just like these people are just, they're at the pinnacle, the peak of their sport, and it's awesome to watch. Are you for or against like the commercialization of the Olympics? I'm happy that the people can get money now.
I mean,
at least know some people that are in there.
Yeah,
I shouldn't say commercialization. I'm just saying that they can actually profit on their NIL. Like the Olympics is an NIL type of thing.
Yes.
People can get paid. They can use professional athletes and stuff.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me. And I don't know how you would go about. You wouldn't, but like basketball, if you're in the NBA, like it's everything for a swimmer to get
a gold medal.
Yeah,
that's the pinnacle.
And that is, again. So I would kind of split the lines there, but no, I'm fine with people getting rewarded.
Like Simone Biles makes a lot of money in advertising and stuff like that.
Yeah.
20 years ago, she would not have been able to do that.
And
that was the thing that I don't like. I hope that the Olympics don't become just people just promoting their stuff. Like I don't want politics when we're walking through the opening ceremonies. I mean, what we saw in Washington, D.C. yesterday with the Palestinian flags, I hope that this is not going to be going on to. I mean, there's already been some stuff already happening in France this week in regards to Olympics and some
the
craziness
fact that they
in this
don't
world.
have air conditioning provided in the Olympic Village is
For reals?
Just absurd. And the political statements that are already therefore being made, and I don't know how you avoid. I mean, you're getting all of the countries. Well, in theory, you are trying to get all of the countries of the world together for a sporting event.
Correct.
Almost impossible.
Correct.
To avoid any kind of controversy or political statement. And truthfully, there's going to be some where I'm like, right on, probably. And others where I'm like, well, that has no place in the Olympics. So, I'll be as hypocritical as anybody if it's something that I think is just and you're righteous in your pursuit. I'm going to be probably applauding it. And if I feel like you're going the other way, probably not going to be as happy. But the competition itself
has always been great.
What draws me in. I wish there was a way to keep all of the other stuff out, and there's just not. That and never has been, never will be. But one of the cool things that you hope happens, I hope happens, is that you get. Like one of the things that has happened when the U.S. wrestlers go to Iran, right? Like they are treated like royalty there because they're wrestlers. And the experience, when I've talked to wrestlers who have gone over there, it's like, no, it was unbelievable. Like they were so appreciative, and it was cool to get to, know those guys a little bit to whatever degree you get to know them, but they're humans. And so what you hope happens is that across political spectrum, you find, we just both love volleyball, or we both love running and seeing how fast we can get around the track. And that you find out, the people, you get the governments out of it, people are a lot more in common.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
You ever been to one?
No, that is.
I did see Salt Lake City is going to be 2034, I believe.
Probably at the top of my bucket list right now. I've tried a few times I've done some preliminary. Even this year's games, I didn't look too far into it just because I started to realize with our schedule that it was unlikely I'd be able to. Take off and or afford to go this year. But I'm at the moment, I'm really thinking I'm going to try to get to the 2028 games in LA. I think that'd be a cool opportunity. I think we could have once again a pretty strong showing from the Nittany Lion Wrestling Club in those games, and so.
Do you know of anybody from the club this might be their final hurrah?
Zane is, yeah.
Zane has said that?
Well, yeah. I mean, he wasn't going to compete in this year. He wasn't going to do that. So,
Schneider,
sure.
all these guys. I mean,
Snyder will be back
4 more years.
Yeah, Snyder has said he'll. I mean, at least be going for it. Dake, I would presume this will be his last Olympic run. I don't know if he may go for another world title or two over the next couple of years. I'm not sure about Kyle and where he's at on the spectrum. But Zane, I'm pretty confident this is.
Now, who from the Nittany Lion Wrestling Club is over there? Staff
those
wise.
4. Well, Casey, I think they may all be over there now.
Now, is that on their dime?
No,
I really have to. I mean,
no.
Just give me a nudge if I'm not supposed to be answering these questions.
No.
The Olympic Committee brings them over as their coaches, or is it?
Yeah, there's. I forget the exact breakdown, but the U.S. Wrestling gets to bring over X amount, and then each athlete, I think, gets to bring either, like Nick, I think, is going over, I think, officially as a training partner for Zane.
But that's paid for by the Olympics.
And like Donovan Ball is going over as a training partner who, if you don't know, Donovan wrestled at Penn State, but he's going over as a training partner for Aaron Brooks. So you have training partners, you have coaches, and then, the clubs and support staff and all of that. It is the logistics that go into it is maybe after they get back. I'm not even sure who to get on to best talk about that, but and I'm sure it's the same for all the sports, but the logistics that are involved in getting the equipment, water, food, all of the things over there, and like the wrestling team is not, they felt air conditioning is fairly important, so they're not staying in the village, so all of this stuff gets scouted and planned out ahead of time. And then, again, everything is there and ready for them when they get over there, them being the athletes. But there is a lot of prep work that goes into making things run smoothly.
Family-wise,
at an Olympic
do you know these answers, or am I just... Family-wise, mom and dad, are they part of the traveling crew?
I don't know if Aaron's. I don't know that. I don't know who all is going over in that regard.
I mean, that's a lot of people going across. I mean, I wonder how large as Cale is a former Olympian, does he walk in the opening ceremony? Or is that strictly just athletes, current athletes? I mean, would Cale be considered a coach there?
Yes. So I think he might walk as a coach, but it's just they don't have like a parade of past Olympians.
I think that the parade of the athletes is really cool.
Yeah,
I think that is so freaking cool.
Yep, for sure.
By the way, we got a no up here on the left with the Padres going into the 9th.
There you go.
Padres are up still, but the Padres pitcher's got a no through 8. So.
There
if he played for the Pirates, he'd be benched right now.
Well, we had a request. We'll go into the break one more time here.
What happened,
with
Jeff?
The big sign. I stink.
I mean, I want to hear your team. Who was your quarterback? Was it Burrow?
I don't even remember. No.
Oh, now he's playing coy.
No, I really don't. I don't it's.
I thought you were going to blame Reggie. I thought we talked off the air. You'd be like, I'm playing my 9-year-old kid.
I forget who Reggie picked for the team. Darn you,
Herschel
Reggie.
Walker. What is this? I don't understand, Reg.
I'll have to look at. I don't even know if I have the. I really don't. I'm trying to remember if my quarterbacks weren't bad. I think
we found the reason why he's the 2-time loser here, Alan.
Backs. Well, yeah, I'm not invested in it. That is for sure.
Oh, Lordy.
We will take a break here, and we are coming back with more. It is the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show here from Quaker Steak and Lube. on a Thursday.
Coast into fall with a new Kia from Lion Country Kia. Right now, get a 24 Kia Seltos for 5.25% APR for up to 48 months. A new Sportage plug-in hybrid at 0.9% APR. Check out our 23 Sorento hybrid for as low as 4.5% APR. And don't forget, all 2023 and 2024 Kias come with a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty. Stop in and meet with one of our sales experts today and coast into fall at Lion Country Kia. We want to see ya in a Kia.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things, great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak Lube.
Get our Best Wings USA, signature sauces, mouth-watering appetizers, or any of our delicious award-winning lube favorites.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak Lube.
The Center Hall Farm Store has been serving Center County and beyond for well over a half century. A small family business, the Center Hall Farm Store specializes in animal nutrition and manufactures its feed fresh using local ingredients. Get the best in horse, cow, pig, chicken, and bird feeds. If you're not already a customer, stop in and see why so many of your neighbors are. The Center Hall Farm Store at 110 West Allison Street in Center Hall, or call us at 814-364-1393.
The State College Spikes are hitting the field all summer long. Enjoy fun, affordable family entertainment as the future of baseball is on display in Happy Valley. Spike teams have something for everyone at the new-look Mettler Field at LeBron Park. From great giveaways to fantastic deals, from special appearances to plenty of fireworks, all the way through September 3rd. For tickets, call 814-272-1711 or get the schedule and buy and download at statecollegespikes.com.
Ready to be part of something bigger? Come pave the road to success at Glen O'Habaker and discover a career where your hard work and determination can build a bigger, better future. Our team believes we can build a stronger future together. Join us at Glen O'Habaker, where we value teamwork on the field and on the job. Go to GOHcareers.com to apply. GOHcareers.com. And best of luck to all the Center County sports teams all season long from everyone at Glen O'Habaker.
With a Timber Kids savings account, you can start to save money, earn prizes, and teach your kids the value of savings. It's easy as 1, 2, 3. Building futures is what we do at TFCU.
You really need to belong to a credit union. You belong at TFCU, Timberland Federal Credit Union, a credit union you can grow with.
The Goon and Ironhead.
And we are back here on a Thursday afternoon.
Loser.
And, getting ready for the start of the Olympic Games, getting set for the start of Big Ten football, again, Big Ten Media Days going on.
We're a little over a month away, Bubba.
Yeah, it is.
It didn't hit me yesterday like you on Tuesday. You were like, it's July 23rd already. That didn't hit me until today when I was like 30-some days until the Penn State's first game. And I was like, oh, okay. All right. It was a little over 4 weeks. August 31, baby.
Yep.
Do we know when they report? Do we have a
little trip to West Virginia to start the season?
It's all different now. I know that we had like 27 days before the first game or something like that. So that would say August 4th, but who knows what it is nowadays. I mean, everything's so different. Excuse me.
That is for sure.
Well, there we go. Padres are up. We have them up here now.
So we were talking earlier, and I didn't follow up. So to me, Ryan Day clearly is under the most pressure as a coach. I think Lincoln Riley is interesting because, Ryan Day, as you said, he's in a no-win situation. If they win the national title even, it's obviously they'll be celebrating and they'll be happy. But it's like, well, yep, that's what you're supposed to do. Kind of like Penn State wrestling. If the wrestling team wins the national title next year, it's, that's what you do. So, and if you don't, my gosh, what the world's going on?
If you win the national, you got to win by 100+ points now.
But
they have 7 title winners.
So, Ryan Day again. This national title or bust. Lincoln Riley is interesting to me because we talk all the time about just that with expectations. Like, 20 years ago, if Penn State had finished third in wrestling 3 years in a row, we'd be rightfully celebrating. It's like, man, that is a remarkable, tremendous accomplishment. And if you won a national title in a 5-year period, again, it had been since the 1950s. It's like, yep, let's celebrate. Party is on. Unbelievable, great accomplishment. And, kudos. Forever remember the head coach that brought home that second national title. But now the expectation is such where it's like if Penn State doesn't win next year, so man, what is going on? How could that happen? So expectations definitely play a role, right? If TCU gets to the national title game and they lose, even getting waxed, it's just like nobody was looking at that and saying, boy, that was a unsuccessful season. Like that's like, man, yeah, stunk that you weren't able to close it out and at least be competitive. But man, you got to the national title game. That is remarkable. Kudos, congratulations, et cetera, et cetera. That's not if Ohio State goes and gets blown out by Georgia in the same fashion in this year's title game. Nobody's going to sit there and, wow, boy, congratulations, Ryan Day. You at least got to the championship game. It's just not the way that's going to work. So along those lines, though, so Lincoln Riley, it's interesting because the expectations for Lincoln Riley from the USC fan base were very high. I think, hey, we should be out of the gate here competing for a Pac-12 championship. And now as they make the move to the Big Ten, again, they're projected as sixth in the Big Ten, which means they could finish fifth and surpass outsiders' expectations. Something tells me USC fans aren't going to be celebrating a fifth-place finish by Lincoln Riley and USC in the conference.
What, it's fourth year there? I believe.
Yes. And so, like, I think he is under pressure because salary expectations and everything else. And listen, I think USC will be competitive, meaning I think they'll be in most of the games they play this year, but I don't think I think sixth is about right. I think they're going to be fifth, sixth, or seventh in the conference. And that is, again, not where a USC expects to be. And this is, so to circle back to James Franklin, expectations are Penn State needs to be in the playoffs this year. But when if you go back 5 years, Goon, like, and this is where I think you need to be, I'm all for high expectations. James Franklin, by the way, is all for high expectations. Like, he's not shying away from this. Like, he has talked a couple of times. He wants to win the national championship. Like, that is obviously, and he feels like he can and should do it here. So not shying away from that, but you do still have Ohio State there. Now you have Oregon, and Oregon's got virtually limitless resources now because they are making I mean, we talk about Ohio State being all in. Oregon with Phil Knight, like, he wants them to win a national title desperately. And kind of like we're seeing Oklahoma State with wrestling, I mean, they are money is not going to be an object for Oregon.
20 years from now, we're going to look back at this point in the NCAA and say, what the hell were they doing back then? Like, they could buy titles pretty much.
Well,
like, I'm telling you, Phil Knight have an unending NIL for Oregon football. That's insane to think about because of the money he has. But what are they paying those kids? And then maybe I should put them in the Ohio State ranks too. And that is, I mean, they still have not played one play in the Big Ten. Like, they got to realize that Purdue, Indiana, Northwestern, Illinois, those guys still, Maryland, Rutgers, those dudes bring it, man. It's not. They're like cakewalks. I mean, I'm not saying Arizona State, Arizona, Washington State, Washington. They're cakewalks. No, it never have been. But I mean, this is a tough conference week in and week out, and you got to play 9 conference games.
Yeah. It is going to be interesting. Like Oregon, I think is.
Yeah, they're skating because they're above Ohio State, but they're spending just as much or more money.
Yeah, I mean, the resources are available.
And I'll say this: I mean, I sit there and I complain about saying, "Oh, do guys play for their home team? For their, are they going to play for Ohio State?" Historically, Ohio State has predominantly been Ohio guys.
Yeah,
Oregon is not historically, or is it now mostly Oregon people? You know what I mean? They are a national recruiting basis, so I could see that falling apart faster than Ohio State. In the scenario I said, with guys not really wanting to play, once they're still going to get the money. So what are they playing for? Why are they putting themselves? And I understand competition, I get it, but once you get that second or possibly third loss, whoa! Now these guys just mail it in like back in the day. So it will be interesting to see. But then again, are we going to see these teams lose possibly 2 or 3 games? It's a real stretch. But see what Oregon can do. Yeah, you're right. I mean, they have completely skated over my head because I am just enamored with the Ohio State thing and how much money they spent. But they're probably spending more, and they're not kids playing for the love of Ohio State or the love of Oregon. That's the third thing we're on the watch for, Jeff.
Yeah, I don't know if. Yeah, we'll have to see how it plays out. Lincoln Riley, I just am not convinced that their defense is going to be able to hold up in the Big Ten. And while I think Ryan Day is under the most pressure or the most scrutiny, the coach that I will be least surprised if he is fired this year in the Big Ten is Lincoln Riley, because I think they have a very tough road to hoe, and I just don't think they're well positioned to do it. But but it's going to be the same thing that we always come back to. Like, I don't know who USC goes out and gets where you're like, all right, now they're definitely going to be a top 3 or 4 team. Like Penn State, Ohio State, Oregon aren't going anywhere. I don't think Michigan's going anywhere. And Iowa and Wisconsin are always hanging around, right? Like they're always ready to make a move. I feel like Washington will make another run here at some point. I mean, I don't know that they're year in and year out going to be there, but I think, more along the lines of Penn State and Michigan, like they can make a run every, 5 years or so and be good the other years. Like that, there is not a ready path there for USC to just vault into, man, we're definitely going to be a playoff team, a top 3 or 4 team in the conference. Not saying that it can't happen, and not saying that there aren't coaches out there who could take that program and do it. But, they thought they had their guy in Lincoln Riley, and not ruling out that he maybe he surprises everybody and has a great team this year and they get to the playoffs. So I think, more likely is that he buys himself another year. They have a good year and buys himself another year. But I think it is going to be hard, like really hard for them to make that move up and be a playoff contender in the Big Ten. But we've talked about that. I mean, I think Michigan made its move with Harbaugh. I mean, everybody was. Michigan fans were questioning whether Harbaugh was going to be able to get that turned around, and eventually, obviously, he did, and got them the national title. So maybe Lincoln Riley gets it there. I really wonder if he can get it done on the defensive side.
Did you see the Connor Stallion thing on Netflix coming out?
No.
Yeah, it's a documentary on Connor Stallions from his side of the situation. So I don't know if you ever watched the Swamp Kings on Netflix. But that pretty much was just a fluff piece on the Gators. It was like they never went into any of the bad stuff that they had done, and like a lot of the bad stuff that had gone on down there in the Urban Meyer and Tim Tebow era. They just washed it over. So I'm interested to see everybody's looking at this Connor Stallion thing, his side of the story. So are we just going to make you know, if somebody pays enough money, you can make a film to make anybody look good, you know? I mean, think about that. I mean, do you want the real story, or do you want the side that somebody's paying for? That's what we're going to get with the Connor Stallions thing. So, yeah. I mean, I just everything about Lincoln was all about the offense. But you know what? You're not going to win with offense in the Big Ten. You're not going to do it, man.
You're not going to win with just offense.
Just offense.
Yeah,
you better start rocking some defense sooner than later, man. Just that's where, and it's week in and week out. There are no weeks off in the Big Ten when it comes to that. So, and that's when teams start getting worn down and beat up, and we shall see what happens to those new West Coast teams. It's interesting.
Yeah, it is. It's going to be very interesting to see how that adjustment is made. I think it's one of those things, Goon, I don't know if you agree, but I think you're not really going to know until you get like that 4 or 5 year window and sample. Like like Washington's down this year. You can't, like, if they come in and struggle, you can't say, well, the Big Ten is just too tough for Washington, right? Oregon is well positioned. Like, if they struggle, then I think you do say, man, there is something to this with the Big Ten. I think they are so good. They're not like, I mean, I guess they could lose a couple of games, but I really think that Ohio State game, because it's there, is close to a toss up. I would favor Ohio State even there slightly, but
still no time.
I don't see them losing to anybody else in the conference this year. USC is more, I guess, maybe the barometer for me, because again, they're projected 6th. I could see that. I can't see them finishing much, like maybe 5th. I can't see them breaking into the top 4 this year. And I think it's more likely, to me, as I look at it, that, you know, not only to the top 4, which just about everybody, including me, has, you know, Ohio State, Oregon, Penn State, Michigan. To me, USC is in the next group. But I think it's a pretty big group, and it would not surprise me to see USC down at like 9 or even 10. When you look at, you know, Wisconsin, which we talked about earlier, I think they're going to be an interesting watch this year.
Huge.
Iowa, Michigan State, can they make a move up? I don't know. We're going to keep an eye on them. Nebraska, I'm watching really closely to see if Matt Rule can take that next step. You talked about Rutgers and the schedule and the way it plays out. How is that going to sit with a USC fan if in the standings, Rutgers is 7th and USC 8th? If you see Rutgers ahead of your program, I mean, Lincoln Riley is not getting paid to coach USC to a finish below Rutgers.
Speaking of that, I told you about their game time, right?
For
Rutgers
USC?
plays USC at USC 11 p.m. Eastern on a Friday night.
Yeah.
You're asking a lot of a Rutgers kid. That's 11 p.m. for him physically. So I don't think Michigan is going to be the 4th team. They lost a ton. They lost 13.
They also have
13 top offensive players, and they have a good defense. And I like Sharon Moore. I love his attitude. He loves the attitude of, we are going to break you and make you quit. I mean, that's a typical offensive lineman mentality right there. And they brought in Wink Martindale from the NFL to be their defensive coordinator. So I'm interested in that, but they had lost a ton from that national title team. Well,
but they are
suspected national title.
Yeah.
But they have had recruiting classes at the Wazoo for the last 5 years. So it is up to the coaches to get it done for them. But if I'm going to see anybody fall out of that top 5 or 6, it would be a Michigan, in my opinion. USC, I just don't. I mean, again, they got to play defense, and it's like, and Oregon's got to do it too. It's not just. I'm not just worried about USC with the Oregon. They got to play defense out there too in the Big Ten. And you are correct with the. I mean, we went in there in 1993. We were a top 10 team, and we go out there and just not a good game against Michigan and at home here, losing on that goal line stand, and then getting shellacked by a really good Buckeye team in '93. But the second year you learn. There's going to be a learning curve going in there with those 4 West Coast teams, and I just don't see them. I don't see them competing instantly. I really, really don't, to be honest with you. I mean, that includes Oregon. That includes them.
Yeah, I think Oregon will. I think Oregon's.
It's a big thing, man.
Loaded. And I think the other UCLA is. I mean, they haven't been competing in the Pac-12, so it's not exactly going to be shocking if they come in and don't compete in the Big Ten.
But we got to talk about. I mean, they got to travel on a Thursday or a Friday, a pretty damn substantial distance to get to these games. Do not take that out of account. I mean, that is a big thing. It really, truly is, because there's a lot. I mean, it's a 5-hour flight east, 5-6 hour flight.
Yeah, but if
that's just, it's out of your norm. It's just out of your norm. And what I'm saying is, like, when you like wrestlers and football players, I know, but
they roll in at 2 a.m. and get up at 6 for practice. I don't know. I don't think it's going to be.
I mean, we used to. I don't know about nowadays, but there's definitely something to be said about that, and there's something to be said about us having to go out west.
Yeah,
it's a big thing. It's just out of the norm, like I say. It's just. It takes you out of your comfort zone. It takes the coaches out of the comfort zone, because they're it's a whole different week. The whole week is different. And I wouldn't be surprised if some East Coast teams go out west and start going out on Wednesday. I know it's easy to sit there and say you got to play the game, but it's if you're not used to it, it's different, and it throws you off a little bit.
You got to play the game. Good.
I know. I mean, the NFL does it all the time, but you are used to it. We're not used to. I mean, we play out there one time this year, right? We got to go to USC. We're out there. We're out west once, and it will be interesting to see how we do when we go, what we do. Is there a bye before?
Be interesting to see.
Is there a bye before? Is it the bye week?
Not
the bye week after.
Not heading into it. Huh. USA women's soccer, Rich lets us know, it's up 1-0 over Zambia. Take that. We're coming back from the men's loss to France, and we're taking it to Zambia on the women's side, Goon. Take that.
We owe them a beating.
Olympic fever.
We owe them a beating is what we do. Oh, my own. Unbelievable.
NFL training camps getting underway. The Steelers and can I just tell you that while I still think eventually that I think eventually we will have, again, my belief that Justin Fields at some point this season takes over as starting quarterback.
Do you keep
Tomlin was pretty funny.
You keeping them both?
Saying, well, I mean,
are you
not after this year? I would.
No, I mean this season. Do you think you keep them both?
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
If they can get something for Russell Wilson, I think they do it.
I don't think they Russell Wilson.
That's true.
I just don't. I don't know. He just.
You ever put Russell Wilson in perspective? He's been literally asked to leave everywhere he's been. Like he's worn his welcome out everywhere he's been.
Yeah.
NC State told him beat it. Wisconsin, he went to the Rose Bowl, all that stuff. Yeah. But the Seahawks told him to beat it. Broncos told him to beat it. You know what I mean? It's just.
Yeah, he was saying all the right things the other day. Yesterday, I guess it was. And but it's he comes across. I'm not even saying I don't know him. Obviously, I read the same stuff everybody else does, and I don't know what's fair or not. But you don't get I don't get the feeling when I'm watching him. He just does not feel genuine. He just does not feel sincere. Like it almost, he was saying it again, saying the right things, and it wasn't like he was trying to be dismissive, but there's just something about the way he presents this where it's like, yeah, I don't think you believe that for a second. And again, it could be completely unfair. I mean, there are people that just don't, the cameras aren't friendly to them, type thing. So I'm not even making any accusations. He just does not come across well to me. And when I say he doesn't come across well, he just comes across to me as arrogant,
crass,
and
arrogant.
Yes, and I don't
affluent.
And it could be a completely unfair characterization. Again, it's just to me how he comes across. I just think for what the Steelers are going to need in the second half of the season. And, it's funny. I know ESPN's been running this thing on Josh Allen where the anonymous NFL exec says he's the most overrated player, makes a ton of mistakes and all this. And listen, I mean, Brett Favre made a ton of mistakes too. There wasn't, with maybe 2 or 3 exceptions, there wasn't a GM out there that wouldn't have taken Brett Favre. And it's kind of the same thing. No question. Josh Allen takes some unnecessary risks and makes some costly mistakes. Also makes some plays that virtually nobody else outside of Patrick Mahomes can make in the league. And I think, to me, you take your chances with that kind of a guy. I think Justin Fields, and I'm not comparing Justin Fields and Josh Allen. I'm not saying that's where Fields is, but I think Fields bringing that running dynamic when you look at the second half of the schedule for the Steelers this season, I just think that is going to be such a big component. Now, his decision-making has to get better. I still don't know. I didn't watch enough of the Bears game. I mean, I've gone back now and have read some stuff on him. I still don't know how much of what happened with the Bears was Justin realizing he had to make plays and trying to force the ball sometimes because if we don't do this, there's no way we're going to get down the field. I don't know. I don't know how much of that was him just assessing and saying, we only have one chance, I got to try, and it not working out. But if they didn't, then it was just going to be, 3 and out type situation. So to me, that's always the tough thing when you have a talented guy who doesn't have success right away, but is in an organization that is not set up for success. And the Bears clearly were not set up for success while Fields was there. So I think he has a lot of upside, and I'm optimistic that as the season progresses, he is just, I guess I'm hoping he kind of, it makes it evident that he has to be the guy moving forward for this franchise. Because if he doesn't, then I just don't think they have. I don't think they have their quarterback then yet. Because I mean, obviously Russell Wilson, even if he surpasses expectations, that's not your quarterback of the future here long term for the Steelers. So
I would love to know who this NFL anonymous guy is.
Well, and I mean. Yeah, and it's one guy out of 32. Like they keep making this sound
anonymous, though.
Yeah, but they keep making this sound like it's wow, is it? Well,
do you know how you smoke him out?
There are all kinds of different opinions on all kinds of different players. The general consensus on Josh Allen may be that he makes some costly mistakes, but also uber talented, uber competitive, and a guy that's going to make a lot more plays that help your team than hurt your team. I mean, so that's not, at the end of the day, again, exactly where you rank him, I don't know, but he's clearly one of the top 5 quarterbacks, probably one of the top 3, and I would argue one of the top 2 quarterbacks in the National Football League. But again, so there's one team out there that apparently doesn't want him. Okay, well that leaves 30, and I'll say the Chiefs for now are good.
Whoop.
That's 30 other teams that are like, yeah, we'd be good with them.
I'd trade Jalen Hurts for him.
So
no doubt.
Yeah.
So you know how my father would fish him out? You know how he'd get him out?
How's that?
So my father every Christmas would put a huge gift under the tree, wrapped it up perfect, big, huge, mountainous, and it would say, I don't know. Because there's so much stuff broken around our house throughout the year that, and then he said, who did this? And then the answer was, I don't know. So he said, whoever picked up that gift and opened it, there's got a lot of whoop ass coming. So there's a person out there named I don't know, just like there's an NFL guy named Unnamed Unanimous or Anonymous. So that's how you smoke them out. You just send a Christmas gift to the NFL, to Mr. Anonymous. I just don't like that. I mean, anybody can say anything about anybody and just say an inside source who wants to remain anonymous. Like, then you could just say whatever you want because you just pass the blame.
That's right.
Not. Come on, man. Come on. Beat it. Not a fan, buddy. But I am a fan of, I do like him a lot. I don't know how, I mean, I think he's even better than Favre because Favre would make some just dumb, horrible mistakes. But Josh Allen, I don't think it's for lack of preparation. I think that Favre had a lot of the lack of preparation going on. I don't think that Josh Allen does. Interesting.
No, I would agree with that. It's but again, this is what
do we know?
One knucklehead's opinion. What
an anonymous
in the overall scheme of things? What does it really matter?
There's 31 other NFL teams who would do a lot to have him as their quarterback.
Congratulations, Dylan Cease and the San Diego Padres. The Padres are the Mad Turtles. He loves Tatis Jr. So
what?
And actually got a Tatis Jr. Jersey for his birthday. So actually was wearing that today. So I have to let him know because I don't think he was following the game today. I have to let him know that. The Padres
don't tell the
pitcher,
turtle.
Dylan Cease had a no-hitter this afternoon.
Don't tell the Turtles there's PED holes in that jersey.
Congratulations to the Padres and Mr. Cease.
Oh,
all right, that is going to wrap things up for our show today. Folks, we hope you have a great weekend. We'll be back on Tuesday. I guess I can hold it up one more time.
Oh, yeah.
Just for the sake of and there we have it.
Congratulations, Jeff.
Facts are facts. Folks, have a great weekend. We will talk to you once again on Tuesday. Until then, be good and